everybody. This is Jan Paval with Access Arts Live with this week's Access Arts Live roundup of operatic and orchestral works. Yes, we have some opera for you this week. It's coming up tomorrow night. Today is January 26th. I'm going to give you the lowdown on what's going on this week for orchestral works and opera, the week of January 26th to February 1st, 2026. Yes, we are well into the new year already. We're just about past the time when French people still permit themselves to say Happy New Year, because they do that until the end of the month of January, actually, unlike anybody else. So we have a lot for you. We have opera coming to you from where else? Salzburg. And top orchestras, we've got the Bournemouth Symphony, the Bergen Phil, the Bergen Phil, the Tomsk Phil, the Gulbenkian Orchestra, the Minnesota Orchestra, and the Tapiola Sinfonietta Chamber Orchestra. These are all fine, leading purveyors, creators of live performances. Before I go any further, let me remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching on any of our other platforms, and including Facebook, do yourself a favor. If you want more than 1,000 live links to live performances like the ones I'm going to be telling you about in the coming year, follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live. We're on Facebook, YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn. Why? Because we want to be wherever you are. All we want you to have to do, if you want to enjoy the things we're telling you about, is just, if you're on LinkedIn or you're on TikTok or wherever it is, just wander over to our channel and click and go. So having said that, I can now move on to actually telling you about some of the things that I've been telling you I'm going to tell you about. And the first thing I need to bring to your attention is that there's opera coming to you tomorrow night already, Tuesday, January 27th. Opera and Mozart lovers can celebrate his 270th birthday with Rolando Villazón directing Die Zauberflöte, the magic flute, in Salzburg, with a cast of Franz Josef Selig as Sarastro and Catherine Lewick, the American, as Queen of the Night, and an all-star cast around them, and the Mozarteum Orchestra under Robert González Muñoz conducting. Come on. I don't know if you've seen Rolando Villazón direct an opera before. He's an opera singer himself, but this is an extraordinary occasion for that reason. I do not have time in this format to go into more detail about that production because there's too much time. I have to talk a little bit about the synopsis. I got to give you some background on the four lead singers and performers. Tell you a little bit about the production. So later today, I will put together a special edition on the Magic Flute in Salzburg. But that is about all that I can permit myself to stay with for now in telling you about it. But check back in, keep track of Access Arts Live, and you will see a notice put up that says, hey, John Paval is going to be doing a special edition on this subject. So now we move into the orchestral works that I will be able to tell you about. And we start on Wednesday. Wednesday, September 28th, Sunwook Kim leads the Bournemouth Symphony in works by Stravinsky, Beethoven, and Mozart, with pianist Elizabeth Sprouse joining him. That will be at... what time in the evening is that? Bournemouth. Well, it's 7:30 in the UK, so it'll be 8:30 in the evening in Europe, 2:30 in the afternoon, late lunch in New York, and 11:30 in the morning, late breakfast or early lunch on the West Coast in LA, and 6:30 the next morning down under in Australia, if you have a high interest in this. They'll be doing Stravinsky's Dumbarton Oaks, Beethoven's Piano Concerto Number 2 with Elizabeth Brauss, and Mozart's Symphony Number 41, the Jupiter Symphony, because, of course, this week everybody has Mozart on their mind. But I tell you, this past fall, everybody was playing Mozart Symphony Number 40 or 41. It was just one of those things that happened. Anyway, who is Sunwook Kim? Sunwook Kim started out as a pianist and won the Leeds piano competition in 2006 when he was just 18 years old, which was 20 years ago. So now he's like 38. But he's also built up a career as a conductor alongside. And since 2024, he has been the music director of the Gyeonggi Philharmonic in South Korea. He first conducted with them as a guest back in 2023, and they immediately hired him as their next music director. He regularly appears with the Seoul Philharmonic. This year, he's having debuts with the Israeli Philharmonic and the Iceland Symphony Orchestra. But he's also back with Bournemouth, where he has conducted on numerous occasions. He has a real relationship with them. Elizabeth Brauss, she's 31 years old. She just recently made her American concerto debut with the Minnesota Symphony Orchestra, which I'll be telling you about that orchestra a little later because they have a live stream this week too. And she's also doing debuts with the Luxembourg Phil, the Lahti Symphony Orchestra, and the Oulu Symphony Orchestra this year. So you could say she's a rising star. So former BBC New Generation artist, she made her debut at the BBC Proms performing, you guessed it, Mozart's Piano Concerto Number 23 with the BBC Phil. And she's long made her debut at Wigmore Hall and goes back there. She'll be back there sometime this year for a solo recital. So some top people and a fair concert selection. Check it out. It's not free of charge. Bournemouth charges £11 to watch their performances. Next up, Tapiola Sinfonietta's associate artist, cellist Nicolas Altstaedt, plays and leads the chamber orchestra in Tchaikovsky's Rococo Variations and conducts Kilmeyer's La Joie de Vivre, Sandor Veresa's 4 Transylvanian Dances, and Haydn's Symphony Number 70 in D major. It's a happy, happy, happy concert, Joie de Vivre, the joy of living. That's Thursday, January 29th. At 6 in the evening, European time, noon on the East Coast, 9 in the morning on the West Coast. Somebody else played those Tchaikovsky variations just last week, I'm sure, but I can't remember who it was. I didn't have time to look it up. Altstaedt loves to do that. He loves to play the cello and also conduct the orchestra at the same time. He's a little bit like Renaud Capuçon in France, who does that kind of thing. This will be, they'll be doing, besides the Rococo Variations, which is the first piece, the Kilmeyer's Joie de Vivre, then the 4 Transylvanian Dances, and then finishing up with the Haydn Symphony. They'll be playing the original version of the Variations. Apparently the one that is often played was modified by a cellist whose name was Fitzenhagen. I didn't know that, but I don't know most things about music, to be honest with you. Nicolas Altstaedt, he is the quote-unquote artist in association with Tapiola Sinfonietta for 3 years, starting this year. His schedule last year, he was playing with the Royal Concertgebouw in the Netherlands, with the Philharmonia Orchestra and Pavel Järvi, with the Swedish Radio Orchestra, with the Berlin Concerthouse Orchestra, with Joanna Malwitz there. He was on tour with the Australian Chamber Orchestra, and he conducted both Radio France and the Munich Chamber Orchestra. Busy guy, very, intense, and judging by his photo, very dreamy. That's free of charge. It's on there. I think it's also, did I give you the link? Yeah, unusually for a Scandinavian orchestra, they're on YouTube. Most of your northern orchestras, they're not on YouTube. They live stream on their own platform, as the next one will. So let me take you along to the next one, where we move from Espoo, Finland, which is where Tapiola is located, to Bergen. And this will be like, wow. Well, I'll tell you about it. It's a choral, magnificent choral piece, among other things. I think they really love to have magnificent, large choral productions up in Bergen, Norway. Friday, January 30th, honorary conductor Edward Gardner returns to the Bergen Phil, conducting Mahler's Third, along with mezzo-soprano Beth Taylor and the women's voices from the Bergen Philharmonic Chorus, the Edvard Grieg Choir, and the Edvard Grieg Guttekor and Jentekor, boys and girls choirs. So there'll be choirs all over the place. They'll really be going at it. That's Friday evening, 7:25 European time, 1:25 on the East Coast, and 10:25 in the morning on the West Coast. For Mahler lovers, I mean, this is it. People who love Mahlers, they really love that. So this will be... Beth Taylor has been doing a lot of concert singing recently, and it was live streamed concerts. December 20th, this last December 20th, she was the alto in the B minor mass that the Berlin Phil live streamed. And just last couple weeks ago, 9 days ago, she was singing in the alto part in Mahler's Symphony No. 8 in E flat major, and that also was live streamed. This year, she had her Carnegie Hall debut in May of this year with the English concert. Her signature role is Cornelia in Handel's Julius Caesar, and they took that on tour across the U.S. and the U.K. And then she had a debut with the L.A. Phil in Mahler's Second Symphony, and they took that on tour to Tokyo, Seoul, Taipei, and Tainan with Gustavo Dudamel. So I could give you some more references to what she's been doing. Suffice it to say, she's a top alto, and she will deliver. And then I also want to show you a picture. I want to show you a picture. This is just the women's voices, okay? This is just the women's voices in the Berlin Philharmonic Chorus. I have a photo of them. For some reason, they had them all gathered in front of the stage on one occasion. That's just from the Berlin Phil's women chorus. You're going to also have the women from the Edvard Grieg chorus, and you're going to have a bunch of kids, boys and girls from other Grieg choruses. So this, if you're into choral works or a Mahler lover, you're in for a good time. And it's free of charge. Let me then move us forward to the next live stream coming at you this week. Next up, former chief conductor of the Gulbenkian Orchestra, Lorenzo Viotti, returns to lead it through Korngold's Sinfonietta in B major, opus 5, with Ukrainian-born violinist Diana Tischenko joining in for Penderecki's Grammy Award-winning Violin Concerto No. 2, Metamorphosen, on Friday, January 30th. That'll be at 8 in the evening, European time, 2 o'clock on the East Coast, and 11 in the morning on the West Coast. Lorenzo Viotti was the former chief conductor of Gulbenkian. I'm not sure when that was. I know that in 2015, he won the Young Conductor Award at Salzburg. And then the next year he was back at Salzburg. He had debuts conducting the Concertgebouw Orchestra of Amsterdam, the Vienna Symphony, the Verbier Chamber Orchestra, the Vienna Radio Symphony Orchestra at the Salzburg Festival. And then from 2020 to 2025, he was chief conductor of the Netherlands Phil, and along with that, was also with the Netherlands Chamber Orchestra and the Dutch National Opera, but that has come to its end. And he is starting up in the fall of 2026 as the music director at the Tokyo Symphony Orchestra for 3 years. And just last December, the Zurich Opera announced they'll be having him in as their general music director starting in 2028. He has his own page on the Paris National Opera website, so they love him in the opera field. They'll be doing Krzysztof Penderecki's Violin Concerto No. 2, which was a Grammy Award winner for Best Contemporary Composition. And Diana Tischenko, who will be playing it, she's Ukrainian and German. I think she has German citizenship now and lives in Germany. She won the Long Thibault Crespin International Violin Competition in Paris back in 2018, and then her career took off. She has been named a Chevalier of the Order of Arts and Letters by the French Ministry of Culture. And she was an Echo Rising Star, and she's performed all over the place since 2018. So up in Hamburg and again at the Concertgebouw in Amsterdam, the Luxembourg Phil, the Vienna Concert House, etc. She has a debut album out called Strangers in Paradise, and BBC Music Magazine gave it 5 stars. And then they'll finish up with a work of the young Eric Wolfgang Korngold, his Sinfonietta in B major, Opus 5. Yeah, I think that means it's the 5th thing that they registered in his name, and he composed it when he was 15 years old. I have no idea what it's going to sound like, but it will probably be fresh and very young. So that's what you have coming to you from Gulbenkian, from Lisbon, Portugal, on Friday evening. Again, free of charge. The next offering we have for you, I don't think will be free in charge, because I think it's the Bergen Phil. Yes, it is, but it's superstars. So what can I say? I can say this: Friday, January 30th, the artist in residence at the Bergen Phil, Janine Jansen, the star violinist, gets her wish as she plays Brahms's Violin Concerto in D major, and the orchestra continues with Scriabin's Symphony No. 3 in C minor under the baton of music director Kirill Petrenko, of course. He's just a top guy at Berlin. Janine Jansen, when she was named an artistic resident for this year with the Bergen Phil, her on her wish list was playing Brahms's Violin Concerto. I want to read to you what she said about it. She said, "It's always a bit intimidating to play this work." Now, I have to say, it's very hard to believe anything's intimidating for Janine Jansen, because she's a superstar. She's around up in Stockholm all the time, and she's just great. "But I have to put that thought to one side," she says. "I just think about everything I've already experienced with this concerto. I played it for the first time at the Utrecht Cathedral when I was 16, with a student orchestra and my father conducting. After that, I performed it again and again, and now I'm bringing all these experiences to my collaboration with the Berlin Philharmoniker and Kirill Petrenko." So this is a big deal for her, and she'll really be putting her heart into it. She debuted with the Bergen Phil 20 years ago, in 2006, and has repeatedly performed like at the BBC Proms. She's been the artist in residence at Wigmore Hall, at the Concertgebouw Orchestra in Amsterdam, the Tonhalle Orchestra in Zurich, the Gothenburg Symphony Orchestra, and I think the Frankfurt Symphony Orchestra. She's just the best. Enjoy. But it's €9.90, or they may be offering 1 month free subscription. It's hard to tell. They generally do one live stream a week, though. Generally, every Friday or Saturday, there's a Bergen Phil live stream. They're one of the people that consistently do live streams and promote it. And if you subscribe, they will send notices so you won't miss any of them. You don't have to depend on me for doing it. And you can cancel your subscription at any time if you end up not being all that happy with it. And we move on to the weekend. Only have a couple more to tell you about, folks. And this takes us out to Minnesota. I mean, isn't that often that you get to enjoy a viola concerto? But you do this Saturday, January 1st. Minnesota Orchestra's principal violist, Rebecca Albers, plays the U.S. premiere of Dong Hun Shin's Thread Sons, a viola concerto co-commissioned by the Minnesota Orchestra. Also on the bill are works by Debussy, Dukas, and Roussel, with Fabien Gabel at the podium, conducting, of course. Not just standing there. Anyway, that's at 8 in the evening, Central Standard Time, which is Minnesota time, 9 in the evening on the East Coast, 3 in the morning here in Europe. 1 o'clock, lovely Sunday afternoon, early Sunday afternoon concert for those of you down in Australia. The other pieces they're doing besides the Thread Sons are Dukas' Sorcerer's Apprentice and his prelude to Act 3 from Ariadne and Bluebeard. They're doing Debussy's prelude to the Afternoon of a Faun, for I'm sure to the great pleasure of Minnesota audiences, and Roussel's Suite Number 2 from Bacchus and Ariadne. Very much a storytelling kind of concert. Afternoon of a Faun, Ariadne and Bluebird, Bacchus and Ariadne. I want to talk to you a little bit more about this piece by Dong Hun Shin, which was co-commissioned by the Bergen Phil, the Gyeonggi Phil, which I mentioned. I was mentioning the Gyeonggi Phil just earlier today because one of the conductors at another concert this week is the music director there now. The Tonkünstler Orchestra Niederösterreich. That's the Southern Austria Orchestra and the Minnesota Orchestra. And it was inspired by a poem because Dong Hun Shin regularly composes pieces inspired by literature. He's got a cello concerto inspired by a poem by George Trakl. He's got an orchestral work called Kafka's Dream, which was inspired by an essay that Jorge Luis Borges wrote about Kafka. Talk about literary. Anyway, here's the poem. Suns, thin as thread, around the grayish black wasteland, a thought as high as a tree picks up tones of the light. On the other side of human existence remain songs to be sung. And that is put to music. And it's no coincidence that Fabien Gabel is conducting this performance, because he's the music director of one of the other orchestras which commissioned this work, the Tonkünstler Orchestra Niederösterreich, the Southern Austrian Orchestra. And he's as for Rebecca Albers, who's the violist on this piece, she's the principal violist there. She's very much a chamber musician. She pops up at Marlborough Music Festival, at the Seattle Chamber Music Society's Music Festival in the summer, at the Bowdoin Music Festival, etc. She teaches at Mercer University, but she's in an ensemble with two of her sisters, Laura and Julie. So it's very much a family thing. Lovely concert. A lot of people connected to each other for this purpose, and a piece inspired by a lovely poem. So then I think I have one more to tell you about. and it's coming from out in way out east. I think that's it. Yeah. Tomsk Philharmonic Chief Conductor Igor Berendeyev, always a daring guy, brings in viola piano duo Ilya Tarasenko and Tatiana Shevchenko from Novosibirsk to play Alexander Tchaikovsky's Concerto for Viola, Piano, and Orchestra, number 2, called Etudes in Simple Tones. And then he continues with Bela Bartok's Concerto for Orchestra, Saturday, January 31st. That'll be at 7 in the evening out in Siberia, Krat time, which will make it 1 in the afternoon here in Europe, 8 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast, and an unwatchable hour on the West Coast. But I think that makes it 11 o'clock down under in Australia, so very viewable. Ilya Tarasenko and Tatiana Shevchenko have worked together before. You see a picture of the two of them there, but I have another picture. Hold on, where is it? I think I have another photo of them that I can show you, a very charming sort of publicity photo. Yeah, they're a real concert duo. There they are at the piano and with the with the viola is what it is. So you have 2 viola concertos this weekend, which is unusual. You have the Minnesota Orchestra doing one, and then you have one out in Tomsk. Viola lovers, hey, you can be in heaven. This piece, Etude in Simple Tones, Studies in Simple Tones, was composed in 1992. It's not Pyotr Tchaikovsky, it's Alexander Tchaikovsky, another beast entirely. And it's been performed a lot by the composer along with Yuri Bashmet. But this will be a different presentation of it. And the Bartok Concerto, it's a 5-movement work. It really functions more like a symphony, but he wrote it as a concerto grosso, is what it is. So you have various solos and dialogues between the ensembles and all. It was commissioned by the Boston Orchestra during World War II. That's what we have for you this week, folks, in terms of operatic and orchestral works. I think it's a very full week, a lot to look forward to. Most of these, with a couple of exceptions, are going to be free of charge for you, which is always worth checking out. Before I leave you, let me express the hope that someone or any of these live streams inspires you, uplifts you, or just shows you a heck of a good time. And with that, I'll remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. And if you're watching this on any of our other platforms, well, including Facebook, do yourself a favor and get more than 1,000 live links to live performances online by following or subscribe to Access Arts Live wherever we are, wherever you are. That would be on Facebook, YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, or LinkedIn. I'll say ciao for now. I will be back later today doing a special edition live stream on that the performance of the Magic Flute in Salzburg tomorrow, Tuesday, and I will be back tomorrow as well with 2 more live streams about organ recital live streams this week and chamber music live streams. A lot going on. Check it all out.